Welcome to Hope Through the Hard, a curated coalition podcast where we talk honestly about life struggles and how to face them in healthy, hope-filled ways. In 2 Corinthians 4, Paul says, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed." That's the purpose of this space. Real conversations about the hard things in life and the hope that carries us through. Visit curatedcoalition.com to find our coaching services and book a free consultation.
Hi, I'm Levi. This is Ashley, and we have Lincoln and Lyndon running production today. So, kid question, Lincoln?
What was your favorite movie as a kid?
What was your favorite movie as a kid? Not a TV show. Movie is what he's saying.
Yeah, I didn't really watch a lot of movies growing up. I do remember there was this. So because my mom worked at Dayspring, we watched a lot of Christian movies.
Yep.
There was one called The Buttercream Gang. I remember really liking that.
Buttercream.
Yeah, I really haven't thought about that in a long time. But I'm pretty sure that's what it was called, The Buttercream Gang.
That's an interesting name.
I've never heard of it.
That's because you weren't forced to only watch Christian movies growing up. I mean, we didn't watch only, but
Correct.
that's what we had in abundance of.
Yeah. Favorite movie growing up? I don't know, because sometimes some of the favorite movies growing up we thought was really cool or really
Like
traumatizing. Goonies was a favorite. Never Ending Story.
No.
But it was traumatic.
Yeah.
And that was like the movie of different things. Star Wars, loved that.
Didn't ever watch those until we got married.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fun.
Lincoln and I have regular arguments about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, good question.
Yeah, good question, Link.
Thank you.
So today we are talking a little bit about God's design for women.
Yep.
And one thing that I have noticed over the years is that we see a lot of broken families, a lot of increase in violent behavior, children who are being hurt. We see just basically decay, cultural decay from the inside out.
Right.
And it's always led me to wonder what changed. When did it change? What changed? Why is it different? And so in this episode, we're going to take a careful look and try to be compassionate while we're doing it at data, the biblical design for women, and the essential role that women play in families, in communities, in churches, and how we can help shape culture and build a legacy for the future generations. So we don't want this episode to be about blame or shame. We want it to be about clarity and compassion and our calling. So we're going to dive in first, like we like to do, with some data. So what are the statistics?
So statistics are nearly 1 in 4 U.S. children lives without a father, whether that's adopted, biological, or stepfather, and in the home. That's a crazy number.
Yeah, that's a quarter of all children in this country have no man in the home.
House.
Absent father homes are associated with higher psychosocial issues, poor academic outcomes, so they don't do as well in school, greater risk of poverty, and juvenile delinquency increase.
Yeah. The research also shows that without the father at home, if they're absent, there's a robust prediction that that kid is possibly going to commit homicide or robbery or end up in jail. Because a lot of dads, I think some of these statistics of what they're taking it from is dad's not in the home because dad's in jail.
Yeah.
So where does the kids end up? Same spot as dad.
Right.
And so because they don't have the leader to say, hey, these are the mistakes here, don't do this, this is what I've done wrong. And so it leads to violence.
Yeah.
And so the large statistics showing that a big chunk of those who don't have a dad in the home is going to turn into violence in some way, shape, or form, male or female child.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Okay, so the data also says that fatherless families are 4 times more likely to live in poverty than married couple households, which is significant.
Yeah. So what does that mean? So family structure, having both parents in the home contributes a massive amount of stability to the home. It gives safety. It shows that, hey, we're here and you are safe. When the fathers are absent, a risk increase for children in the community is going to happen because they're not there to help protect, but also help guide. And affects ripples, like you just said, economically.
Yeah.
It's going to affect some emotional health,
Yes.
their income later on, crime of what they're doing. And then that's also a generational thing that's going to start a legacy that may not be the greatest.
Yeah. So we want to acknowledge that correlation does not equal causation. The statistics show patterns, and we recognize that it's not a single origin thing.
Right.
We are not, if you are a single mom, we are not trying to put blame on you or shame you. But we do understand that when you can highlight an issue and bring clarity to that issue, you understand it, and then you can work to fight against it, right? Like you can back end that and be prepared and raise your children and intentionally look for those male role models who might be helpful. Or just being aware of the information and the statistics will help you make different decisions.
Right.
So that's sort of, we're not saying that if you are a single parent that this is absolutely where this is headed.
Right.
Not at all.
Correct. Yeah. So social outcomes are some of the biggest factors that's taking place, and there's multiple in here. So economics determine where you're kind of living of what's taking place. Education access, helping make sure your kids are educated in a way that may change them out of this process of this
pull them out of the
continual pattern.
Yeah.
Legal policies that
Yeah.
are out there. Community environments, is the environment that we live in. Everybody in the neighborhood is living this situation. And then systemic issues as well is something that's involved with that.
Yeah, and it is entirely too simplistic, like I said, and very unfair to blame just women's roles alone or men alone. So this is a two-part series. Like we're talking about women this week and men next week. And so in neither episode do we want to blame only women or blame only men. We are just trying to highlight an issue that we have noticed and bring light to it, and then bring clarity through the gospel. So
because their relationships are messy. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we all understand that this is a relationship. It's two people together creating this and for your home.
Right.
For what you're creating for your family. And we're not giving you all this data to bring shame, but we want to reveal the brokenness and the need for restoration to happen.
Yeah, and we recognize that God is the ultimate restorer. And so we're just highlighting this as a way to show where the brokenness is,
Right.
and then lead you to the one who can restore it.
Right.
So from a male perspective, why do you think that a father's presence in the home matters so deeply for identity and discipline, stability, all of that for children?
Processing this a little bit, because I think there's a lot that's involved in that, especially with faith. So we continue to look at God and say God's our father. And not a lot of kids understand what a father means and what that looks like. So then whenever we say, hey, here's God, your father, what does that mean? And a lot of people don't understand, because the father that growing up wasn't involved, then they're not able to understand their identity. What does love mean from a father? What does the guidance mean from this? And so the importance of having the dad, the protector, and the one that's helping overcome a lot of situations to teach kids how to be successful, I think is huge. And if that model is not involved in the home, not only are they not going to see that in life as they grow up and then become a couple with somebody else and raising their own kids, I think the continual legacy is going to struggle.
Yeah.
But also that faith part, I think, is huge. That a lot of people don't see God the same way as what some others would see God if they had a father in the home.
Yeah. So it really corrupts everything
Yep.
when for whatever reason, when the father is absent. So that's really interesting.
Yep. So what does the Bible say? What is God's design for women, family, and culture?
Yeah, and so when you think of what is God's design for women, I think one of the most used but also misunderstood passages in the Bible is Proverbs 31.
Right.
So I'm going to read a little bit of Proverbs 31. An excellent wife who can find, she is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. She is like the ships of the merchant and brings her food from afar. She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. She considers a field and buys it with the fruit of her hands, and she plants a vineyard. She dresses herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. She puts her hands to the distaff, and her hands hold the spindle. She opens her hands to the poor. She reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all of her household are clothed in scarlet. She makes bed coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known at the gates, and when he sits among the elders of the land, she makes linen garments and sells them. She delivers sashes to the merchants. Strength and dignity are her clothing. She laughs at the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also praises her. Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful, beauty is vain. A woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands and her work, and let her works praise her in the gates.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot.
And I think on the whole, it has mostly been used to keep women and tell women that their role is in the home.
Right.
And so when you heard me read that, what did you hear that might be different than the traditional interpretation of that?
I think, yes, they're nurturing the household,
Absolutely.
but they're managing the resources.
Yeah.
So she was watching over the stuff, taking care of the things, and then creating stuff, and then selling it, trading it.
Yeah.
So she's doing business stuff. And
She is an
making trades.
entrepreneur.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she is engaged in business. She is working outside the home.
And then she serves the community, helps those that are in need, but also speaks wisdom. I think is a key part of that. So, yeah, God's design for a woman is nurture, but it's also leadership, it's industry, and it's an influence into the community and not just in our home, but also outside.
Yeah. And so I think that this is important because for a long time, women have been told that their only value was inside the home.
Yeah.
And so then there was this massive cultural shift that you could attain no value in the home, that it had to be only outside the home. This is saying that you can have both, that you can have great influence in your home. And if you are called, if it is necessary, if you desire, if that is God's will for you, then you also can and should have great influence outside of your home.
Right.
Another really good passage in Scripture is Titus 2. And I think that it has also been a touch mistaken. It shows women discipling women, and it calls women to raise their children, to teach faith, to steward their homes, but also to influence their community, their economy, and spiritual formation. So Titus 2, 3-5 says, likewise, teach the older women to be reverent in the way they live, not to be slanderers or addicted to much wine, but to teach what is good. Then they can urge the younger women to love their husbands and children, to be self-controlled and pure, to be busy at home, to be kind, to be subject to their husbands, so that no one will malign the word of God.
Yeah. And I think that what you said is husband and wife together, and that as a family matters for the longevity of legacy of a family, and that you come together so you can build a generational faith.
Yeah.
And then also some values and what that means. And so family together is primary vessel. Scripture is going to say in Psalm 78 and Deuteronomy 6 is the way of the legacy of discipleship as well.
Yeah.
That will grow in your faith, into your kids' faith, and then continue as well.
Yeah. But all throughout Scripture, we're seeing that women weren't just in the home, that they are encouraged to be in community and to disciple and to lead and to serve, not just in their home, but outside it as well, to be part of an active part of the community and even the workforce.
Yep.
So
For sure.
So what is sort of a balanced view then of godly femininity? So real gospel femininity uplifts dignity and purpose and identity. It doesn't reject the family, though, or biblical structure. So godly womanhood allows for career, for entrepreneurship, for leadership, and for ministry service.
And as long as I think that it's rooted into a Christ seeking, their calling is for life. If everything is based off of that, then virtues are upheld and covenant with the family are honored. This is a great way of balance that takes place. And we can, our social media especially will show you one side or it's the other side.
Right.
And there has to be somewhat of a balance that takes place.
Yeah.
And I think it's so neat to be able to see whenever everybody does actually see that, they gravitate to that because they're like, oh, they have something I haven't seen.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to watch. And the same goes as women in church affirm women's calling. There's nothing wrong with women serving.
Right.
It needs to happen.
Yeah, women should be serving.
Correct. I think a bad rep is sometimes is where the churches like to put women and where they like to put men. And sometimes it almost needs to switch a little bit. The women need to be a little more involved in some of the other realms of what's taking place because you can pour into all seasons of everybody else's life, not just children's ministry in the nursery.
Right. Yeah.
So.
No, women need to be in other capacities because God gave women same kinds of gifts that he gave men.
Yep.
And those women need do the church, the Big C church, a disservice when we relegate women to the nursery and children's ministry.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to look at this, understand that not men especially are probably threatened and feel like they're not comfortable in these situations. And so we need to understand here's a gift together as brothers and sisters that we can work together because women encourage them to build their spiritual maturity. Yeah. Encourage them to have the example of what young women need to see each and every day as well.
Right.
And so question for you.
Okay.
What do you think Proverbs 31 women looks like in 2026 in the workplace, church, and home?
Well, I think that it looks like someone who understands their calling and is walking in it. I don't think that, obviously we're not like sewing our bedclothes and, on the whole, this is a picture of someone who understood what her husband needed her to do, what her children needed her to do, and she was willing to work at that for her family, to secure her family's future, her family's safety, and then also to make sure that she was in line with where God wanted her to be. She wasn't weak. It says that strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the future. Like she is unafraid. We are not talking about a meek, mild, hide only in the kitchen woman. This is someone who is unafraid because she is prepared and she is brave and she fears the Lord and she understands what her job is. And that means that she is regularly seeking God and asking him, where do you need me? What is to come? What do I need to prepare? How should I best love my children? So I think that we have really done Proverbs 31 woman a disservice by saying that he must just work in the home. Now, in my opinion, there is no greater calling and no greater fulfillment than the time that I spend with my children. But we have never been in a financial situation where I can only do that and not look for other means of income as well.
Right.
Am I going to choose to do that from a position of, can I do that from my home? Absolutely. Can I do that with my children still around? Then that's what I'm going to do. But I still have to look for those ways, just like she did. She still has to look for entrepreneurial opportunities wherever she can find them. And that's a Proverbs 31 woman in 2026, someone who understands their husband is calling them to and how she can help him.
Right.
and love her children and nurture them and provide for them and not be afraid.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So what do you think has changed? Like, what do you think has caused all of these shifts?
For America, especially, there's been a massive culture shift.
Yeah.
And one part of that, rising rates of a father not in the home, as we kind of discussed a little bit of like, put a year of kind of when the men started to not show up and kind of base back to World War One, World War Two.
Yeah.
Because the men went off to war and then the women had to go into the workforce.
It was post-industrial revolution.
Right.
And so we had factories that weren't being operated.
Right.
So,
And
yeah.
all the men were gone because
Yeah.
they had to go to war. And so a massive increase of fatherless homes changed this and the domino effect of continuing even to today.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's also been a really drastic normalization of things like divorce,
Yep.
dual sexual relationships, attachment really from long-term commitment within the secular culture.
Right.
We just see this hookup culture, and no one is willing to make a commitment and say yes to marriage, yes to children.
Right.
I do have a lot of hope in is it Gen Z? Z, is that the one? I do think that they are understanding and they're kind of going back to they want to have children again, which is good, and they want to get married young, which is good. Do see some hope in that, but we've got to get away from the casual relationships and the like commitment avoidance.
Yeah. And that culture shift as well that's changed is our expectation of what life should look like. So
You're not wrong. Yeah.
economically, we think we need the big house, we need the nice cars, we need all this stuff. And the only way to do that today, society, is if both parents work.
Yeah.
So then it becomes a massive struggle, more stress that takes place. And now neither one of the parents are really home except for the small time to eat dinner and continuing from there. So that understanding of now both parents have to work unless they're just really blessed in a way of just one having to being able to work, that affects a lot.
Yeah. Shifts do, and we can't just skip over them. The shifts also reflect men being more autonomous, being the covering of a father's house and not going straight into marriage. Access to education. Many women do pursue higher education.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. Increased legal rights. None of these things are inherently bad, but we do see issues arise. And that kind of freedom is disconnected from covenant responsibility and community accountability.
Right.
So,
Correct. Yeah. And so what do you think has been gained culturally? What might have been lost with all this?
yeah, I do think that have been some great gains culturally. Women have more rights than ever before in history. That's huge. We do have a more equitable pay scale than ever before in history. Are serving as CEOs of companies and presidents of companies, and that is incredible. Very wonderful to see that. It's been lost. I wonder if a desire for with your children has been lost, like the emphasis on family been relegated to school, like the care of your children has been relegated to the school or a daycare. And so then your children are losing that stability.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of just balance that.
Yeah. Because every job, every place that we all work at doesn't always value home either. And
Right.
so, my kid's sick. A lot of bosses don't care. And it's like, well, find somebody else to take care of them because you're supposed to work. And then it becomes a pain for the family in a lot of ways, and which leads to a lot of that families and hurting families because do I provide or do I provide financially? Do I provide for my kids or do I provide for this situation? I think is interesting, again, goes back to that balance, right?
Right.
And figuring out the balance of all of it, because women are called to be kingdom builders.
Absolutely.
Regardless of your role, I think women play a huge part of even being an example in leadership and showing others that, hey, I'm a child of God and here's how it should be done.
Right. So what can women do today?
Today.
I think in the home, women can They can build faith within their children, and they can provide emotional safety.
Yeah.
They can build stable, value-centered households, regardless of if you work outside the home or if you are at home all the time. Those are things that you can do every day. In the church, women should be discipling younger women.
Right.
Younger women, open your arms, open your heart to an older woman who's a little bit further along in life than you. Be afraid to ask them. Like, don't be afraid to walk up to an older woman and say, I'm really interested in mentorship. Are you available for mentoring? I think most women would happily mark off a whole day on their calendar and say, you bet.
Yep.
Like, where can I meet you for coffee? Would you like to come to my house? I please join us for dinner. Right. Older women would love that. So also be mentoring families. If you have, older children or children that are outside the home, invite those families over. Have them in your home. That would be amazing. So cultivate community.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and at work and culture.
Yeah.
I think is a spot that women definitely need to lead with integrity.
Yes.
The world does not understand that in the secular world, especially. Model biblical values. Again, they don't understand it. So create a whole new culture. Create a whole new environment of what that looks like, and you lead in the changes by biblically showing, here's my values, here's through integrity. I'm going to lead with service and showing others in my workplace how to live and showing those biblical values, and just change the entire culture of your company just by you. It can happen, and women can make that environment a whole lot nicer by leading in a different way than what the culture of the world sees how the secular world should work.
Yeah, women have great influence.
Oh, yeah.
We just have to tap into it and use it the right way.
Yep.
So practically, all women, regardless of whether you are a wife, whether you are a mom, if you are single, if you are divorced, if you are widowed, all women can model biblical virtue and wisdom. All women. All women can be industrious, wise, caring, and entrepreneurial.
Yeah. And prioritize legacy, not just your lifestyle, but build values of godly values into your children. Teaching your faith and building a stable home is huge, because that will not just continue right now and help your family immediately, but watch the legacy take place after it.
Yeah, and if you don't have your own kids, build it
Somebody else.
Be around other kids.
Yeah.
Be around your friends who have children.
Yep.
Work to do those things in them. Engage in community and culture influence, whether that's business or ministry or mentorship or just in general, the culture, the people that you're around, with integrity and a godly worldview.
Yep. Advocate for covenant and family stability through policies, ministries, relationships, and protecting the strength of the family and the culture is a big thing we need to start putting focus to.
Yeah, and all women, regardless of who you are, whether you're married, single, divorced, widowed, whatever, all women, for single mothers, for widows, for divorced women, you can uphold the biblical truth and passion.
Yep. So how do we honor both freedom and responsibility?
Yeah, that's really something to think about. I think that you have to recognize that God is a God of freedom. He only wants you to be free, but true freedom is found in him. And so when you seek freedom outside of him, it's not freedom. You are aligning yourself with something else that will harm you. And so when you seek the freedom that God gives you here by pursuing a relationship and pursuing a call through him, walking where he's laid out for you to walk, that's how we do it. It's responsible freedom.
Yeah. And I think that's great, because we want you to hear our hearts. I think that we want to have a biblical view, understanding, and we know this is difficult. The world and culture is going to push against it in all ways, shapes, and forms. So we want to make sure you hear our hearts, and that we love you all, and we want the best for everybody.
Absolutely. We understand that not every father absent home is dysfunction.
Right.
Many single parents are very heroic and very sacrificial, and we appreciate you. Your children appreciate you.
Yeah.
Your church appreciates you.
Well, and there's the systemic issues be acknowledged.
Yeah.
And poverty is there, injustice is there, trauma, and every economic status is going to happen.
Yep.
Whether rich and you're a single family, parent, lack of resources is there as well. And so we need to make sure that we understand, hey, this is the situation. How do we make a plan for that?
Right. And that's just it. We are trying to use truth to heal, not to shame.
Right.
We just want to bring light to an issue, bring clarity through the gospel, and not shame or blame. And so the gospel response, our response, should be one of restoration and support, accountability, community, ultimately redemption.
Definitely. So there could be some objections, right, and that you may have. And so we just kind of want to combat some of this and talk through some questions. Is talking about fatherlessness judgmental or shame-based?
No. I mean, it's just not.
Right.
It's a situation. It happens. It happens on every continent.
Right.
It's not just localized to our country or our region even. This is a worldwide issue.
Correct.
And we see it here. James 1:27 says, religion that God our Father says pure and faultless is this, to look after the orphans and the widows in their distress and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. Fatherlessness happens. It's been happening since the dawn of time. And so talking about what happens to children and to families when a father is absent that is not rooted in judgment or shame. So the short answer is no.
Nope. Single moms being blamed.
No, absolutely not. Most women who are single moms did not ask to be a single mom.
Right.
They didn't sign up for that. They never said, please leave me. I don't like you. I mean, like most of them for fear, trauma, or, pain. And we don't want to intensify that by talking about this. We're just trying to bring light to the issue so that those single moms understand that, have extra responsibility. Let people help you.
Right.
Ask people to help you. Build that in. Because it is a problem and it's unfortunate and nobody wants that for you. Nobody wants you to walk that alone.
Right.
So,
yeah. Well, going back to the biblical part of some of this, where some people may see this is just an old school gender role. Women, that's your role. Is that just what it is?
No. I mean, we see women in the Bible, obviously. In Proverbs 31, she was an entrepreneur. She was like starting a business and like waking up in the middle of the night to go out and work her business. No. And in the Bible, we're leaders. We have in the New Testament, like woman after woman after woman who was leading the early church, and have prophets. I'm thinking of, wasn't it Deborah, who was a prophet, a judge and a prophet, and she was sitting under the tree, literally holding court. And so, people were coming to her and bringing her their problems. Right. And there were Jewish military leaders in Israel who were saying, I'm not going to war without you. Right. Like, I will not go into battle without you because I trust you and I know that the Lord speaks to you. Lydia was a patron. So no, this isn't like old school biblical rules. That shouldn't have happened. Right. Putting women in a box was never God's design. He made us to be helpers. We can't help if we aren't using our gifts. Yep. That's just, So in my opinion, biblical femininity is that we are stewarding our resources well. We are acting with godly wisdom. We are using our influence wisely. It's not about limiting you or sticking you in the kitchen. Right. Although there are a lot of women who are very happy doing that. I tend to be one of them. So not necessarily in the kitchen, but definitely at home with the boys. And Adeline, yes, that is where I have found my greatest fulfillment.
Right. So next kind of objection, aren't there many causes of societal decline?
Of course. We've talked about a lot of them, or as many as we can. Fact of the matter is that family structure is a strong predictor of culture, and biblical foundation for discipleship starts in the home.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I know one part where some people lean heavy onto this question is didn't feminism give women needed rights? And so therefore, shouldn't we just take all the advantage of all of it?
Yeah, we absolutely should have been treated as equals in society.
Right.
There's no question about is that true. Concern is that when those ideologies reflect family and reject mothers, reject God's covenant, what marriage should be, or say that men shouldn't be functioning in their God-given roles, which again, we're going to talk about next week, then we have a problem. So we can embrace empowerment and equality between the sexes without rejecting God's design.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's a balance and figuring out that balance of stuff. About women's calling and what should be taking place. What if a woman is single or childless?
Then she is no less valuable than someone who is married or someone who is married with children. She is still a child of God, and she still has an opportunity to influence. She still has an opportunity to build legacy. She still has an opportunity to grow the kingdom of God. Like her being single or childless is irrelevant as far as the way that God sees her and her value in community and in culture.
Yeah. Well, and we continually see politics are out hard, heavy society in our social medias and everything else. This topic, is this political?
Biblical. Like this topic is biblical. If culture wants to shine a light on it and call it politics, they can try, but it was biblical before it was political. And so we're setting that aside because family and legacy and discipleship were all biblical before they were political. And so the church has a responsibility to steward the conversations with wisdom and with grace, but we should still be having them. Just because someone has labeled them in 2026 as political does not negate the fact that they were biblical.
Right. And we're not placing blame or glorifying the past. We're really not doing that. We just want to make sure that our heart comes out that we love everybody.
Yeah.
And that we understand this is going to possibly set up everything to be the best situation. And we're not causing blame or shame on anybody.
Right. Yeah. We're just calling women to seek God for what is your identity? What is his purpose for you? What does he want you to do to shape your family, to shape the culture, to build a legacy? Whether that's in your home, in a workplace, in the church, or the people that you do life with, it doesn't matter. We want you to get back to seeking what is God's will for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you reflect on something of what is your legacy that you are building right now with your children and in your community. We want to encourage you because women are essential in God's design for your family, culture, discipleship, and restoration around it that you come in contact with.
Yeah, and whether you are a mother, whether you're a single woman, whether you're a widow, a student, or you are a working professional, you have a legacy and you are valuable.
Yeah, and women, you are a culture builder. You create the culture that's around. Through your faith, integrity, wisdom, and love, you're going to shape culture that's around you in your family, at church, and at work, and with your friends and community.
Yeah. So if this episode encouraged you or challenged you maybe, we hope that you will share it with a friend, leave us a review, help us spread hope through the hard.
Yep. And to connect, find resources on our website at curatedcoalition.com. We have a lot of resources from our past episodes there as well, along with life coaching, and like and comment and share this to help others. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for today's conversation. My hope is that you leave here reminded that whatever you're facing, you're not crushed, abandoned, or destroyed. That's the promise of 2 Corinthians 4:8 and 9 and the heartbeat of Hope Through the Hard. Visit curatedcoalition.com for all of our coaching services or to book your free consultation. We'll see you next time.